everybody, happy Monday. And I am just here real quick. I figured you might want to know how to paint this beautiful wood leaf. So I'm just going to log on super fast. And some of the supplies that you are going to need. Some paint colors you really like. And this is the paint colors I really like. I'm not a big fan of real pastel-y colors in a leaf. So I have a deep yellow, I have gold, copper, my favorite copper ever. I have some burnt sienna. I know it's not going to be dark enough for me, so I have a little bit of black. And then I have my Tuscan red from Deco Art that I love so much. And I will mix probably a little black with it too to make a little bit of a cranberry look. I have taken a triangular makeup sponge and cut it into some pieces. Obviously I had an extra one left over, and I think you're gonna really, really like what we're gonna end up doing. So I think it's really pretty. The depth is great. There's some gold, there's some metallic happening, and it's not hard, and if you don't like it, you can just start over. This is from our fall leaves collection for the hanger, the door hanger. And it could be a little intimidating. You don't want to just paint it just red, just brown, or maybe you do. But to me, I wanted something that looked a little bit more realistic. The way I'm going to do that is through our sponge brushing. So real quick, I'm going to take a paintbrush. I'm going to mix some brown and black together. I'm looking for a dark brown. I didn't mix all my black in there, did I? I'm looking for a dark brown. So if you're just joining, go ahead, tell me where you're coming from, or if you're watching the replay, go ahead and type in replay. I'm going to take my biggest sponge, and again, this is a makeup sponge. It's a triangle. I took a piece off. I'm going to come in here and load up. If you can see, I have quite a bit on there. I'm going to take some off, just a little, and I'm literally going to paint my leaf with my sponge. Just gonna go with the green. I'm gonna leave it on there. Sometimes we wipe off the paint, but we're not gonna. And so what's gonna happen is this brown is going to give this paint unbelievable depth today. The hardest part of this project is knowing when to stop. It's dry, literally almost dry already. So I am gonna go ahead and soak my paintbrush. I'm gonna go into the deep yellow. I didn't really want a really bright yellow. I wanted a yellow that was closer to burnt leaves. So I have a little bit of paint on here. I'm gonna get rid of it, take most of it off. It seems like a waste. And then I'm just gonna gently, you guys see I'm just bouncing. Bouncing. And it's gonna leave some marks. You can go over them if it's bugging you, but I try to rotate my wrist. So I'm not looking at those marks, you know, like little patterns in a row. Or you can simply not reinvent the wheel and turn your leaf. Still not looking amazing. It's not looking like this leaf over here on the side, and that's okay. Acrylic painting is all about layers, and this is just layer number 2. So sometimes when you look at a painting, whether it's one of my projects or a canvas painting, you get a little overwhelmed. There's how did they get that look, that desired look? Well, if you break it into layers, most likely they put a base of some type and then just kept building. I think we can all agree that did not take long at all, but it still doesn't look amazing. So I'm gonna just flip my sponge to a clean area, and I am gonna go in with the red, but a little later I will mix some cranberry. I put some on, I'm taking some off. So I'm not real globby. And if the yellow's wet, it'll make a little orange, and that's okay. And this is layer number 3. But honestly, if you're at home painting this or at a paint party with your girls, you can do, this project has 4 leaves. You could do all 4 brown, then come back and do the yellows, and then come back and do the reds, rather than doing one at a time. So if it's too much, that's okay. You can kind of bounce it around. And you will not believe how fast this goes. Again, I'm getting that pattern, so I'm gonna turn. I may have to reload. Now the stem is a little bit more delicate, so what you want to do is absolutely be gentle. You can fill in all the spaces or just plan on doing more areas. I like the peekaboo yellow popping through. You can grab yourself a new small sponge. I do go into gold first, but you can do copper first. The reason why I do gold first is it's very contrasting in color, so I like to cover it up. So I'm just gonna take a little gold, put some on, take some off, twist a little bit. Metallic is absolutely beautiful, and you can keep coming back and forth between colors. So if you did not know, metallics tend to be low on the opacity scale, meaning they're very see-through-y, very transparent. So you're gonna have to let them dry to see what you get. So I am getting a lot of that pattern, so I'm just gonna make sure I'm turning. So as I just finished this right before the video, and the gold and copper are really just now starting to pop. So I'm focusing more of the gold on the outside of the leaf. And I'm looking, and I know that some of you are here live, but I'm not seeing comments, and that's probably my device. So I will definitely come back so you guys can see, or I can answer any of your questions. It's just a really good technique to have in your arsenal as painters. If you're just starting, you're gonna still be very successful with this technique. Just remember, we don't hardly have any paint on our sponging area. I didn't scoop it up, I just put a little on, I bounced some off. And if you're like, oh my gosh, she covered up the whole dang thing, it's okay. I'm going into another color. I'm gonna go into copper. This copper is gorgeous, by the way. It's my favorite copper. It's not very expensive. I feel like it's very generous. You don't need very much. It might have been too much. We'll see. So this is layer number 4. We did brown, yellow, gold, and now copper. And don't worry, we're gonna come in here, we're gonna ground it by doing the edges and adding a little cranberry, playing with it a little bit till we're happy. So did not take long at all. I didn't have to add glitter. I have a very realistic, rustic leaf here that I end up with. Go ahead and turn your point of view, change it often so you're not always just looking in one direction. So happy Monday. I hope you guys are doing good. I was wondering how I could serve you today, and I was like painting this, thinking, I wonder if there's anybody out there that needs to know this today, how to do this. Yes, me and John will be in here tonight. We'll be painting our project of the week. It is a scarecrow. It's pretty cute. He ended up being huge. Okay, so I have brown. couple things I want to do with brown, and you know what, I'm going to go into cranberry. So you can pre-mix cranberry, which is brown and red, or you could just guerrilla what's it called, warfare it with me. Okay, and I'm just going to come around the edges, and my middle finger always looks like that because I'm going to come in and kind of help the blending. You can go all around if you want. Leaving a little DNA behind, but I did not let it dry between layers because I wanted to be able to blend if at all possible. This is layer number 5. I'm still probably not even 10 minutes in. This project has 4 leaves, really, but you could be using this on Hobby Lobby leaves if you want to be using it for a wreath. So it's starting to get there. At this point, I'm going to just flip around, find my sponge with the gold. Hello, there it is. I'm going to go back in, add a little bit more gold wherever I want. You can see I kind of focused on the edges with the gold. This layer, and it goes really quick. And you can continue to go back to copper if you want. And I want that. I want to get into that copper. So I'm going to go back in with the copper, just here and there, freshening it up. And finally, the next step I feel like makes it all right. Everything's all right in the world, and that's where we ground the piece by giving it the shading on the side. So I'm just going to go into a very small paintbrush. It's a sponge, I know. I'm going to go into the dark brown that I made. If you have a dark brown you love, go ahead and use that. I'm going to clean my finger really quick. Okay, Carol, I see your comment. Okay, so it's more of a pushing on the side and it overlaps. You can pull, I just don't feel like it works for me. You could do this with a Q-tip if you wanted to. I like to do it while it's wet. If it's too strong, I'll take my finger and kind of bounce it a little bit. Or plan on coming back with a little copper or a little gold. You don't have to do both sides. I think if you look at this, I kind of focus down on the bottom, which I would imagine that's where the shading is, but not necessarily. Here at the top, I did it all. You can kind of see how, oops, I broke it. I told you to be careful, didn't I? You can see where I'm focused there, and I'm just gonna glue that on so it's gonna be okay. It's grounded. Yep, I'm just so not perfect. You guys know that. I mess up a lot. But you guys keep coming back for more, so you must have loved the hot mess. Okay, here we go. So you can see that took no time at all. And if you're looking at this going, oh, it's a little drab, don't fear, flip your sponge over, get into some gold or copper, and then just come in here. If that's too much, come back with the brown. You're just gonna repeat the steps until you are happy. So as long as you're not using a lot of paint at all, it's really pretty. Not using a lot of paint on your sponge, you're turning your wrist or turning the project so you're not getting a repetitive pattern. It's going to be beautiful. So I'm not gonna worry too much about this. I told you to hold it down, didn't I? It was like, do as I say, not as I do. And I'm just gonna glue it together on my project. So I didn't want to take the time to paint the whole project, but I felt there may be somebody here that wanted to know how to paint these leaves, and they turn out really beautiful. I guess the A goes like that. Obviously it would be turned around. Boom. but we don't want to talk about the F and the A right now. Anyway, I'll see you guys tonight for me and John's Monday night paint project. Tell me what you think. Bye.